So Wednesday, March 25th at 5:30, we are going to be doing our second call of the 6-part webinar. So we hope you guys were able to watch the first call, and if you didn't, that's totally cool. But in a second, I'm going to introduce myself and my co-hosts, and we're going to just start on part 2. So I'm Dr. Divi. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to meet y'all. This idea of doing an event with Christine and Sharon came to me in about December, and I didn't reach out to them until about February because I was starting the year course in January. So it's just, as I reached out to them in February, and we were planning on an event that started in April that led into a 3-month course. And the event in April was going to be at the Holiday Inn here in Vancouver. And then when this whole COVID thing hit, we had to cancel that. And obviously, and we decided to move the 3-month part that was going to be online first, and then to do an in-person event possibly after, depending on the climate at that time. But the idea of the 6-part webinar was and is to hopefully give you guys some tools and tips as we move through this time on the planet, and to hopefully connect with like-minded souls and to be part of a community to help each other and to give you guys tools and techniques to move through this time. One of my clients said to me, with this happening on the planet, you must be super busy. And it is, because right now is a time that we all need support. We all need love, support, help, guidance. And so thank you all for showing up. So that's me. Sharon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon. And I've been doing work with Divi for probably 10 years or more. And yeah, and I'm really excited to be here too. There's so much going on, and I think gathering to just get grounded. If nothing else, you go away with being grounded. That is going to for sure help you throughout the day to do whatever you're doing and whoever you're interacting with. So for me, I'm just I feel like so privileged to be able to share this work with you because it's made such a huge difference in my life. I'm now an intuitive coach after doing the program with Divi, and I've been doing energy healing and cranial sacral therapy. And before that, I was in public health. I was actually a health education practitioner in public health, and very grateful that now I'm doing this work because I think this work is even more important. So yeah, excited for tonight, and I'll turn it over to Christine.
Awesome.
Love it.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me? Okay? Yeah, I can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody. I can only see 5 faces right now, which is making me, I'm like, hey, I got 5 of us on here. I'm so happy to be here again. Last session was so amazing, and just hearing the feedback and just seeing, I could feel people's energy just calming. And yeah, like Sharon said, this work is so important right now, and sharing it with the clients that I've been seeing, and just any arena I have to do this and to share the messages that I have is so impactful. And I can just feel the ripple effect that's happening. The more people are able to calm and get into that slower state, the more that they're able to show up with their partners, with their families, with their work, with everything. And it's just creating, I don't know, I'm just really feeling it. I'm feeling the momentum of some people's fear, and I'm also feeling massive momentum of love right now. So it's really cool to have these arenas, these Zoom calls, to just feel everyone's energy. And I'm an intuitive coach as well, so I did Divi's year-long program, and it was amazing. And the work has been instrumental in just grounding me, calming me, and I don't know, I'm just showing up in a really calm way right now, which is, sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm batshit crazy, I don't know, but I feel like very, sorry, I can swear a lot, but I just feel very calm. Everyone's like, how are you doing? You know, I own a business. I own a fitness studio, boutique fitness studio, that we had to close our doors 2 weeks ago now. And, you know, of course, there's a million things happening in my life as well, but I've just, through this work, and I've just been able to stay super centered. So I just feel like all my training and all my attention into this is really been paying off. So I hope that I can share any little snippets of wisdom or inspiration that might land for you tonight. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks, Christine. So welcome, everybody. I'm super excited you guys are here, but let's just take a second to bring ourselves together. So go ahead and close your eyes. Just take a few deep belly breaths to ground you. Settling into your body and just being with your breath. Allow your hips to settle into your chair. Shoulders to soften. And allow your mind to relax. Taking the focus from the mental body to your emotional body. Moving into your heart. On your next breath, go ahead and pick up all your energy. And what I mean by that is, we all had days, and maybe you left some of your energy on your last Skype call with somebody else. And maybe you went to the grocery store and deposited some of your energy there. So I invite you to go through your day and go pick up your energy and bring it back to where you are now. Just take a few deep belly breaths as you do that. Just go through your day and pick up your energy and bring it back. Take that low, slow flow of breath in and out. As you go through your day and pick up your energy, you're going to actually start to feel yourself more centered, more grounded, and actually having more energy. So taking those breaths in and out with that low, slow flow. Good. Really good. And you can start to feel the whole group. I'd like you to imagine now all of us standing outside on a beautiful sunny day like today, holding hands as a collective gathering of souls who are here to learn, to grow, and to develop, and to be part of this work and this journey of life. Take 2 or 3 more deep belly breaths. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and coming back to the bright room. Perfect. So welcome back, everybody. It's great to see you. So in tonight's class, similar to the first class, if you saw it or didn't see it, it doesn't really matter. But if tonight's class you didn't see the first class, I recommend you go back and watch it because it's like a 7-layer cake. I think I wrote that on one of the emails. This is the second layer that we're going to start working on, and then Sharon's going to add to the third. Christina will keep adding as we go over the next over the 6 classes. And just a quick reminder: our next class is on Friday at 9:30 in the morning, and they're all live, but they are recorded. And you'll get lots of emails from me, like you already have with the recordings. And so now at 5:30, then Friday at 9:30 in the morning, or at 12:30. I'm so sorry. Friday's at noon. Thank you, Sharon. I need my scheduler. Friday's at noon. Monday next week's at 9:30. Wednesday the following week is at 5:30, and then noon again on Friday. So it's just we decided to pick different times for different people, right, depending on what you're up to. So hopefully you can make all of them live or recorded. I think you'll get so much out of this, and I'd love it to see if you guys can start to practice it. And all of this is leading into a 3-month course that we'll tell you about as we go, but that starts April 9th. And that's these sessions are about giving you pieces. And the 3 months is taking those pieces and applying them deeper and embodying them and living them and actually deepening the concepts and adding more. So tonight's concept is all about momentum and vibe. So how many of us know that we vibrate in energy? Do y'all know that? You're vibrating energy. So do y'all know that? Hands up, just so I know when we're good. Okay, great. Thank you. So y'all know, thank you. Everyone's hand went up. So everyone knows they vibrate in energy. So, okay. So what vibration are you vibrating right now? You can go ahead and type it in. I'm vibrating worry. I'm vibrating anger. I'm vibrating sadness. I'm vibrating joy. What are you vibrating right now? And I'll just read them as they come in because the people who watch the recording can't see them. Somebody writes in love, peace, relaxation, low energy, love, motivation, excitement, calm, concern, awesome, Nicole, freedom, busy, a bit revved up, trying to get a lot done. Right on, Jen. Yeah, I know. So everybody's vibrating something different. You saw that. Busy, bang on, accomplished. So we're all vibrating at each moment. Now, what creates our vibration is our thoughts and our emotion. And I love the last one, boredom. I know, eh? House sitting, right? Or housebound. So, but this vibration that we're vibrating, whether it be boredom, surrender, accomplished, freedom, concern, worry, anxiety, that vibration that we're vibrating is actually something that we can change. Okay? And I want you to know that. We can actually change it, but our willingness to change it is the key. Okay? We can change it, and we have to be willing to change it. And we only want to change it for one reason. We want to change it because we feel better. Many people who have studied, universal law, energy, manifestation, abundance, they're all like, I want to change my vibration because I want to create this over here, whatever this is, the husband, the money, the health. And so there's like a hook. I want to change this vibration to get this. Got it? And that the problem with that is then we're always going, where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? When all that matters is what we're vibrating right now. Does that resonate to you guys? That's a hard concept for us to get, because from the time we're put on the planet, we're taught that what we get over here is the most important thing. And we're not taught that what we're feeling is the most important thing. Does that resonate? That makes sense to you guys? So tonight's class is all about setting our vibration on purpose. And when our vibration goes wonky to maybe what we don't want it to be, how can I shift it, be okay with it, and then shift it to something feel better? So tonight's class is typically what I call momentum. Okay. So I'm actually on my screen, I'm going to be changing how it looks for the recording, but I'll be jumping back and forth, and I'm going to do it back and forth so I can see you guys at times, but I'm going to go into a bit of a teaching mode right now. And if there's questions, feel free to type them in. Most of what I'm about to say, most of you have heard of, but it's going to take some explanation and really rewiring. And if you don't have pen and paper, go grab one, because we're going to do an exercise in a little bit where you're not writing, or a phone to type into will be helpful too. Okay. So at each moment, you're vibrating in energy, whether it be boredom, worry, compassion, relaxation, whatever you guys typed in, peace. And believe it or don't, you actually have access to what you're vibrating. And you have access to what you're vibrating by thoughts. Now, the thing that occurs, though, is let's say at this second, right now at 5:44 p.m., at this second, I'm vibrating this. And if I'm not paying attention, if my thoughts go kind of downhill for whatever reason, I've turned CNN on and on too long, then I could vibrate this. And then before I know it, I'm vibrating down here. Then before I know it, I'm vibrating down here. The classic example I use when I teach workshops, because I love this example, is that I wake up one day, I'm like, oh my God, I've got a mole. Oh, look, I didn't see that mole yesterday. And like, let's just say I was feeling really good. The next thing I know is I saw a mole, okay? And then before I know it, like, I'm just like, I'm feeling good. It's a beautiful day. It's sunny. I've got a dog. Life is great. Then I see a mole. And then at this moment I go, oh, that mole, I don't know. I've never seen that mole before. Brown people don't get moles. Brown people get moles. That's scary. Grandma died of skin cancer. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do I have a will? So within like 10 seconds, I went from it's a sunny day and I'm lucky to be alive to I got to prepare my funeral. And all that happened was I saw a mole. Can anyone relate to doing that? Has anyone ever done anything like that in their life? Has you guys ever done that? Okay, so I'm not the only one. Thank you, Emily. Capital yes. We've done it. Awesome. Okay. Now the key is, it's not about making, what a lot of people who are into this kind of work, it's like, I should know better. I shouldn't do that. I should da, 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 right? And that's not what this is about. This isn't about undoing your thoughts, but it's about really, really, really being aware of what we're vibrating and shifting them. And Joe, I'll grab your question in just a second. So what I want you to understand is that every moment we're vibrating, and the moment you saw that mole and you went right downhill, as soon as you notice you're downhill, you can actually do something about this. So the idea is thought 1 becomes thought 2, becomes thought 3, becomes thought 4, becomes thought 5. And it's really, really quick to the point you don't even have to think it. Let's flip it. Has anyone ever had the experience that they wake up and they're like, man, it's a great day. I'm so lucky to be alive. And then when you used to be able to do this, you drive through Tim Hortons and the person in front of you buys you a coffee. And then you get to work, when you used to do this, when you get to work and then your boss says, lunch is on me. Have you ever had those days? Have you ever had those days? Yes, yes, yes. You had those? Okay, so you had those. So the momentum can go up or the momentum can go down. So they said, okay, no question. Thanks, Joe. It just happens to you a lot. So the momentum can go up or it can go down. And that's the thing. So tonight we're going to be talking about when the momentum goes down, How do you break it? How do you stop it and then shift it up? Because most of us, we never break it. Then we wake up 21 days later, we're like, I've been depressed. And there's nothing, please don't say I'm thinking there's anything wrong with this. I actually realized last night that I live right near Kits Point. So I've been, since last Monday or last weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before that, watching all the stores close up on down West 4th. I was getting pretty low. And I didn't really realize it until last night, about 10 days. And I was up and down. And I was like, and I really shifted it this morning, like big time, consciously. And I'll talk about how I did that in a second. But it was like, I was taking on everybody else's stuff. I was like, oh my God, that store is closed. Oh my God, that one. Oh my God, Semper Viva just closed. Oh my, do you get it? Oh my God, I got to stand in line for Whole Foods. Oh my God, do you get how this happened? And it was like every day for the last 10 days. Has anyone else done that for 10 days? Not the only one, please tell me. Okay, good. I'm not done it. And then last night I came home and I was like this. And my husband just watched me sit on the couch. And then I decided, you know what? Not that I even consciously decided I was going to change something. I actually said, I know I can shift this, and because I knew I was teaching this tonight. Okay, so when you've got momentum that's going down, the biggest thing that changes momentum is sleep. Okay, it's actually scientifically studied that when you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning, there's actually a gap between when you first wake up, like, okay, I'm awake, and your first thought. There's actually a gap there. But most humans never exercise that gap. We wake up and we're like, COVID. We wake up and we're like, my job. We wake up and my bank account. Can you guys see what I mean? But there's actually a gap between when your eyes wake up and your first thought. And that thought is choice. But most humans grab the thought from last night. Does that make sense to you guys? Before I keep going, does that make sense? So remember, I'm going to say it again. The biggest breaker of momentum that you don't have to do anything about is going to bed. And it's actually the reason that most depressed people sleep a lot. Because when you're depressed, you take a nap, you wake up, and for a little bit, you feel better. You're depressed, you take a nap, you get up, and you feel better. Does that kind of make sense? You understand that now, right? So what I want you to understand is that sleeping is a powerful way to break momentum. We're going to talk about other things that break momentum, and then we're going to talk about raising momentum. Okay? So I'm going to give you a list of things, and I want you to type in what else you do to break momentum. Common things: exercise, yoga, meditation, petting your dog, stepping outside on a sunny day like today, and actually going, and actually getting out of those thoughts. So people have written water, great. SNG, I assume, means singing or song. Fresh air. Painting with my son, I love this. Singing, thank you. Beach, great. Beach, nature walk, dancing, call funny friend, baking, mantra repetition, turning on some good music, looking at trees, breathing, taking a shower. These are all awesome. The journaling, music. The key, guys, is every single one of us needs to have a list of 3 or 4 things that break momentum, and you put it on your fridge. Okay, that's homework number 1 for today. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're down here and you're really down in the dumps, none of those, you can't think of any of those things. You can't think to breathe. You can't think to go to the beach. You can't think to take a shower because all you know is you're down here. So one of the things I recommend, no matter how long you've been doing this work, is have 3 things that work for you. That you know that if I go to a yoga class, can't go to yoga class. Do a yoga class, roll up my mat, turn on one of Christine's videos, go work out. Those things will break your momentum. In a second, we're going to talk about what to do to bring it up. So everybody grab 3. Does anybody have trouble coming up with 3? Yay, you guys are so great. Okay, so we all have 3. So the key, though, is let's say you've done a yoga class like Alman suggested, or you turn on a video from Sweat Van City and you're like, I've worked out so hard, I feel so good. Now what do? So you've broken momentum, you've gone to bed, you've gone to the beach, you've flattened the momentum. The key with any of these exercises, you have to leave those thoughts completely and flatten momentum. So, let's just say you're worried about your bank account and you went to yoga class. You can't be thinking your bank account. Got it? You have to have no thoughts about that. That's flattening the momentum. When you're sleeping at night, you're not thinking about your bank account. You're sleeping. So you've got to flatten the momentum before you bring it up. So once the momentum is flattened and there's no thoughts, you've done a yoga class, you've gone and worked out, you're feeling better. Now let's talk about building momentum upwards, okay? That's the next thing we're talking about. This is where your pen and paper is helpful. So let me introduce you to two concepts. There's something called a general thought, and then there's something called a specific thought, okay? A general thought is this. There is Sharon, I'm gonna use your Sharon. There is Sharon, moving her head back and forth with glasses. That's a general thought. A specific thought is Sharon's got 5 fingers on one hand, 5 fingers on the other. She's got beautiful eyes and dark hair, dark curly hair. Do you see the difference, general versus specific? The more general your thought is, the more it slows down. You slow down momentum. The specific thoughts speed it up. Got it? So when you're going downhill and you're afraid, say, about COVID, and you get really specific, this is the number of people who have it in the world, this is the number of deaths, this is the number of ages. Do you see how you're speeding momentum and getting into fear? Versus general is, there's been viruses that have come and gone. There are people working on a vaccine. There are potential cures around the corner. Do you see how general slows it down and specific speeds it up? Do you see how that occurs? And so as humans, the difference between myself and my beautiful dog that many of you met before we started is I have conscious control of where I direct it. That's the one big difference between the mammalian, like the animal brain and the human brain, is I can go here to, I am going to downhill momentum, or I can go here to general positive momentum. That's the one big difference between me and my four-legged friend. Does that make sense? And as humans, if we want to live a happy life, we have to be willing to exercise that conscious direction. So now that let me go back. You're going downhill, you've broken momentum, you went for a walk on the beach, you breathed, you did a yoga class, now you want to go upwards. How you start to go upwards is step one is you have to choose a general thought, not on the topic that was pushing you down. Because if you think about it, we have lots of topics. I could talk about 30 different topics right now and not get bored. I could talk about how much I love my husband. I could talk about living in Vancouver was the best decision of my life. I could talk about my great hair. I could talk about my dog. I could go on and on and on. Do you guys get that? I have like a zillion topics I could talk about. But let's say there's one topic that's driving me crazy. Let's just say my husband's driving me nuts, which he's not right now. But let's just say it's my husband. Let's just say I'm going downhill about my husband. Then I break momentum by going to yoga class, and I want to build the momentum. The last thing I want to do is talk about my husband. Does that make sense? Because as soon as I do, I'm going to go downhill. So I've got to build momentum on another topic. Do you guys get it? Because as soon as you start to build momentum on another topic, you're going to feel better. The most common things that I use to build momentum on a topic to feel better is nature. Because I can talk about nature until I'm green in the face and never really hit a downward spiral. Does that make sense to you guys? I can talk about nature, my dog, how much I love the planet, and I could just go up and up and up and up. So then you're going down, you break momentum, then you've got to get general on another topic. Got it? So this is where your pen and paper comes in. Okay, so grab your pen and paper. And you're going to actually start to notice how law of attraction, law of resonance, starts going to work with your thoughts. So I want you all to write a general thought on a blank piece of paper on top that feels good. Just any general thought that feels good on the top of your paper. And I just want a couple of you to type in what you've written. Just type it in. What have you written? Just a general thought that feels good. Sunshine. Yes, Jen, I love you, sunshine. The sun is shining. We must be Vancouverites, for those of us in Vancouver. Being Costa Rica on the beach besides the jungle. Okay, so pick a topic, pick a thought. Thank you guys, blue skies. You see, you're hilarious. Okay, pick one word, just one thought, and I only want you to think that thought. Don't go forward, just think that one thought, okay? So whatever, let's just say your first thought was sunshine, sun is shining. So close your eyes and think that thought. The sun is shining. Just think that thought, whatever your first thought is. Blue skies, sunny day, Costa Rica jungle. Just think that thought and keep thinking it and feeling, keep thinking it. Now notice the emotion you're feeling and write that emotion down right now. Write the emotion down. What is the emotion? You don't have to type it in, just write it down. Peace, ease, love, freedom, whatever the emotion is. Breathe as you do this. Now close your eyes. Go to that feeling and that first thought and just sit in that. Just sit in that first thought and that feeling and just notice. I guarantee you right about now, another thought starting to come in if it hasn't already come in. Is there another thought? I'm so blessed to be alive. I can't wait to get outside. Whatever, there's another thought coming in for most of you. When that next thought comes in, write it down. And if the thought hasn't come in, just stay with that first thought, stay with the feeling. So once the second thought has come, you've written it down, close your eyes, sit with the second thought, and see what your feeling is. And write that feeling down. Breathe. After you've written that feeling, close your eyes again. Sit in that feeling and that second thought, and now just watch. A third thought's going to come in. Just watch it come in, and then write that third thought down. Keep breathing as you're doing it, and you guys are getting the handle of this, right? What's the emotion? Write that emotion down. Keep going. It goes thought, emotion, thought, emotion. Keep breathing as you're doing this, guys. You guys are doing absolutely phenomenal. I can feel each of you. If anyone starts to go downhill, go back to your very first thought and start again. Keep breathing. Do it for 2 more cycles of thought and emotion. Breathe those deep belly breaths that we did last time. Keep breathing. After you've done your second thought, third thought, fourth thought, check in what the final feeling is and write it down. And type it in. Type it in too. What is your feeling that you're feeling now after you've done that a few times? Gratitude, joy, love, relief, safety, strong, resilient, belonging, full, alive, blessed, possibility, safe, joy, healthy, excited, connection, love, freedom. You guys feel the difference? You guys feel that? We only do that for like 3 or 4 minutes. I didn't do it to a meditation song. I did that on purpose just so you could try practicing this, okay? It's a very different, like very short, easy technique, super easy to break the momentum and start again. And the thing that really is like a bit of a brain screw up is that most of us go downhill, we break the momentum, start to go up, and then we're not doing it consciously. And then, especially if you're sensitive, like a lot of the people who I work with are, so you're going downhill, you break the momentum, you take a nap, do whatever, you start to go up, and if you're sensitive and you're not paying attention, then what you're going to happen is you're going to pick up someone else's stuff and you're going to go right down again. Can some of you guys relate to that? Yeah, that you like that? I think there was a couple of you that I was picking that up on, and then you pick up somebody else's stuff, especially what's happening out there. So I'll share with you what happened to me. So I woke up, I purposely did it this morning with a workout, a meditation, and I had to drive up 4th to pick up some groceries. And I pre-paved that when I got to Safeway, I didn't have to wait long, and sure enough, I didn't have to wait long. And then when I was driving up 4th, instead of thinking those thoughts of doomsday, I started to think, wow, this is so amazing. Each of these people are getting a break. Each of these people can recalibrate and wonder, what do I want in my life? And guys, I didn't purposely think those thoughts. I was already in a high vibration, and those thoughts came in. Does that make sense? Just like each of you noticed the thoughts came in. Because out of knee jerk, like the last 8 days, I've been driving up and down going, I don't even drive that much, mostly walking, and feeling the opposite. But because I had set my vibration differently today, when I went out, it was like, just think how lucky that person is who works there, who can decide if they want it or don't. Wow, that person's lucky. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Spirit, for sending me that thought. It's what I needed. But it was my job to set my vibration differently so Spirit could send me that. Does that make sense to you guys? Tell me how this is feeling. Exactly, Christy. We can all reset. How is this sitting as a concept, a thought, an energy? Tell me what's coming up. Any comments or questions before I keep going? Refreshing. Thanks, Losa. Refreshing. I'm not crazy. It feels so simple. Yeah, Lauren, it is simple. Love it. Me too, Bridget. I totally love this stuff. Now, one thing I didn't say earlier that I need you to hear, it makes a lot of sense. I know, Chris, it's insane how simple it is, but it takes work. My vibration has been out of control. Exactly. Thank you, iPhone, because it's just typed in iPhone. So guys, this is the thing. I like using I wore white on purpose so you could see it. The thing is, we go down, and then like iPhone said, if we're not paying attention, go here, and then 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 here. I'm going to answer Sarah's question that just came in. So this is deliberately focused, and this is using universal laws and energy, because the divine, if I connect this conversation to Monday's conversation, Spirit is always talking to us, always. And by setting that vibration of ease and love and joy, we can receive from Spirit the message. But see, Spirit can't speak to us. Well, they can, but we can't hear it when we're down in anxiety, because they're up here in love and joy. Because the whole thing about Spirit voice is it's fixated in love and joy and freedom and ease. But by us shifting upwards our energy, then we can receive those. Does that make sense to you guys before I keep going? There's a really great question that came in. It came in privately, so I won't say who sent it. The concept is generally how I feel and how I function, but it concerns me that I'm compartmentalizing and avoiding things. So my answer to that question, just I won't use your name because you sent it privately, is that it's not about avoiding things, because the thing is, you're going to feel how you're going to feel. Like spiritual bypassing is something that, especially those who do this work, we can do easily. But you're not, if you have to break momentum every 30 seconds, okay? Then what's happening is you're spiritually bypassing something. Does that make sense to you guys? If you have to break momentum all day, every day, you're definitely bypassing something. So it's not about avoiding. This is about being real with what you're feeling. But if you are finding that you have to break momentum all the time, my question is, what are you avoiding feeling? I shared with you guys on Monday that there's nothing wrong with feeling anger or sadness or worry, but I want to feel it. I want to be with it. So I had to be feeling kind of this stuff for the last 10 days before I could shift the energy upwards. Does that kind of make sense? I just have to feel it. Because if I was ignoring it, then I'd have to break momentum every 10 seconds. I hope that answers your question. That person says that to me. Sharon, Christine, do you guys want to add anything to this? Sharon.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is, because I keep hearing some people are wondering, what about other people? Like, what if you're around other people and you get up here and they suddenly start talking about COVID-19 and they bring you down? And so for me, because it happens to all of us. For me, it's like, I'm going to not engage in the way that person wants me to engage in. I'm going to choose how I engage. So for instance, when I was laid off from work a few years ago, every time I talked to my mom, she asked me, did I find a job? Did I find a job? Have you found a job yet? Have you found a job yet? And it was to the point where just hearing her voice, I would get triggered and I'd just crash. So what I started to do was I would change the subject. I would change the topic. I would ask her a question. I would totally just kind of avoid getting hooked into her story. So part of the momentum is you choosing, again, when you're interacting with someone else, choosing how that interaction goes. Because the other person, you can't change what they're doing and how they're feeling, but you can stay wherever you're at by talking about the trees or the weather or telling them about the nice walk you just went for. Or, and I've done this recently, I've just said, you know what? I can't talk right now, you know, because it's easy to get caught up in it, but you don't have to. And then the other thing was just the bit about when we wake up and there's that second before our thoughts go. What I do now, especially, is the first thing when I wake up is I say a little prayer, and like it's like a 2-second prayer, or it's a gratitude, or it's an intention. And it's just like the very first thing I do, no matter what. So just finding those things. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sharon. I love that, setting your intention, your prayer, your mantra. It's gorgeous. Love that. Christine.
Yeah. Can you tell I'm hiding out in my hallway? My daughter's downstairs, so sorry.
Okay.
Solo parenting. I just keep hearing for myself. It's a lesson that I'm learning. Is a big call on boundaries right now. For me, it depends on where my mental state is and what I've been doing for myself, how much self-care I've been taking. But my momentum can definitely be triggered, especially if I have people in my life who I have that past hook in, a really easy, generally, you know, family or partners or whatever it is, the people that can easily sort of take me down. So I'm just noticing it's a big call for boundaries right now, in terms of if I do notice that I'm having a conversation with somebody who has a lot of momentum, and especially just right now with what's happening, there's a lot of momentum. Some people are really watching the news 24/7, feeding into the momentum. So I have to watch that I don't, you know, if I'm not feeling super centered or grounded, I am saying, you know what, I'm so sorry, I have to, you know, I can't be on the call, or I'm going to have to skip you know, kind of like just trusting that taking care of myself, I might upset some people, but it's okay. And it's what I need to do in order to keep my momentum and my vibration really high. Like I just notice, sometimes I'm in a more general state and I'm able to engage with people, but there's sometimes I really do have to set that like really clear intention of like, I can't talk right now, or and then just to piggyback that is what Sharon was talking about in the morning with the gap. That's why I personally, and what I tell so many of my clients, is just meditation is so key, or just breathing, or setting an intention, or just creating, like, I just love to milk that gap, because I find that if I get what I used to do, and what caused me a lot of anxiety was getting up, hopping on my phone, hopping into my emails, hopping into text messages, and, you know, I would see, you know, shit was going south or something was happening, and then I would get caught up into that momentum. So I found that even if my external circumstances weren't changing, by milking that gap, by, you know, saying every morning I'm going to take 20 minutes or 5 minutes to just breathe, meditate, have a cup of tea, just like center myself, I find my capacity for the day to deal with whatever momentum is going on outside of me. It gives me that ability to show up still and have a bit more grace and grounding. So that's what's been helpful for me.
Beautiful. Really nice. And I want to piggyback from some comments and questions that came in as we're talking about this. So yeah, momentum is a great word for this, because it all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like crap. Well, that's just momentum. Like, you know, it's so much easier rather than I did something wrong. Do you get it? You see how simple that is? It kind of disengages from that. The other comment that came in I really like is, Amy was piggybacking what you were saying, Christine, not engaging the way others want or expect, but respectfully communicating boundaries are excellent. Private question that came in, so I won't say who said it, as asking me, how do we deal with what you're avoiding or bypassing? So I want all three of us to answer this question. I'll answer what I would say. How do I deal with what I'm avoiding or bypassing? How do you identify what it is before you get taken out by it? It's a great question. So first thing I would say as an answer to this is not to be afraid that you're going to get taken out by it. So, you know, life is this journey, you know, you know, if I'm down by it, it's like, oh, well, that's something I'm avoiding. What I would do is pretty much daily I have a meditation practice and a journaling practice. The journaling helps me to just mind dump. Do you know what I mean? And the mind, because the more you can mind dump, the less you're actually avoiding, because you'll just know what's going on up here. The other thing I do, like most of you know, is I have a coach and I just dump on her, right? Like, and that's a good, useful thing is like, okay, how was your week? Oh, well, you want to hear? Vomit, right? Because you can't avoid that. Like, does that make sense? Especially, I work with an intuitive coach, which I am too, and they you can tell. It's like, well, what's that anxiety in your belly? I don't want to talk about it, right? Because it's there. So those are the few techniques I use: meditation, journaling, and working with a coach. Sharon, what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, it's about tuning into my body.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of times when I'm spiritually bypassing or I'm sort of out, I'm in my head. And so it's really to bring myself back into my body through meditation, through walking, through dancing, whatever, and tuning into what's going on in my body and allowing myself to feel those feelings. Because again, emotion is energy in motion. So I find I spiritually bypass the most when I'm trying not to feel, just like you said, Divi. And so for me, it's to tune into my body. What's going on? Like, is it, or is it my hips because I'm afraid of moving forward? Is it, a pain in my neck because somebody's bothering me and I don't want to deal with it? Is it like, what's going on in the moment in my body? And then it's to do the deep breathing, to journal. I have an intuitive coach as well, and I can't do without it, because every week there are big things that I can't see. Like sometimes there's that 2% blind spot that we all have, where we're doing something, we've got the same pattern going on, and we're not sure why. And so I find that with her, she will tune into that. Usually it's more than a 2% blind spot, but anyway, she will, she'll get at it faster and easier than what I can see. And then of course I have friends that are also, intuitive and call me on my shit, basically, so yeah, it's really, it's a learning experience to start to notice where I spiritually bypass, because I know I've done it so much in the past. I don't do it as much anymore, but we still all do it a little bit. So.
And while you're on that, can you just define spiritual bypassing, even though you just did? Just a question came in. Sorry, can you define spiritual bypassing? The question came in. Oh, you already did.
Oh, okay. So it's for me, it's a hard thing to define, but it's really where I'm pretending everything's okay and I'm okay and everything's going to be okay and we're all okay. And, instead of, okay, what's really going on? Why am I feeling this? What is the core? Why am I suddenly off center? Why am I suddenly vibrating inside? Instead, and because for me, spiritually bypassing is just a lot of that mental voice pretending, right?
A great way to say it, the person who asked that question is especially at this time on the planet, if a client came in and saw me and I'd say, well, how's this affecting you? They say, it's not. I'm like, like it cannot not. You cannot, that's a great example of spiritual bypassing. It's like, it's not. All is good, the divine's talking to me. And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. Do not hear it that way. But that's the classic, like as spiritual teachers, as healers, as coaches, as, intuitives, it's so easy to go, well, the divine wants this is just the way it is. Well, let's be real. This is affecting my neighbor. This is affecting my son. He can't, like, we have to feel those feelings. That's spiritual bypassing. Just to give you an example on that front. Feels good? Thanks. Christine, do you want to add anything to that?
You're talking to the queen of spiritual bypassing over here.
We love you, Christine.
I love it. The way I define it is using spiritual principles to bypass my feelings and my emotions, what's actually real for me. So, throughout my life, I've gone through kind of myriads of traumatic experiences. And what happens, the way that it shows up for me is something happens. I am so uncomfortable with even touching the feelings, the shame, the whatever it is that's like the deep core root of it. I'm so afraid of touching them that I just go I grasp onto like whatever it is above, like, okay, well, this is obviously happening for a reason. What's the reason? Okay, I'm going to try to extract that so I can hold on to that. And it comes like, I have so much compassion for myself. I've learned to have that because it's just, of course I want to go I want to grasp for that better feeling thought. You know, I can explain to somebody in a totally, like, it shows up for me in a lot of logic. Like, okay, so this is what happened. Like, I've had sessions with Divi where she's like, how's this? I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? This is going great, and da da da, and I know this will happen for a reason, and so I'm fine. I'm fine. Frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So it's just what I've had to learn is that as much as I love spiritual principles and as much as I'm so committed to this work, I also have to say, like, what am I feeling? Which is a new process for me. It's going inside of my body, and my body speaks to me very clearly now. I won't go into it, but I went through a lot of adrenal fatigue and a lot of just really crazy health stuff where my body was like getting really loud, and I just kept bypassing everything. And until, you know, I asked Divi one day, I'm like, am I going to die? Because I feel like I might. And we had to work to get me back into my body and to start processing of some of the pent up emotions that had been manifesting in all of these different ways. So anyways, in a nutshell, that's what spiritual bypassing has shown up in my life. So
awesome. Thank you, Christine. So I'm going to pull a thread, and I'll answer questions as they come in. That is 100% me, Christine, somebody wrote. All right, so I want to pull a thread and pull from here. So momentum is everything, okay? One of the reasons you want to set your vibration at a certain point is they talk about conscious, and I always point to conscious here and non-conscious here, even though they're not there. I just do it for my head to recognize it. But they talk about conscious thought and unconscious thoughts, okay? So one of the reasons you want to set your vibration on purpose, there's lots of reasons, but one of the main reasons is it's the only way to know what the unconscious stuff is. So let's just say you're happy. This is a great example that I want to use because they were showing it to me as Christine was talking. Let's just say you're all good, all good, all good. Like you're up here, and then your partner comes in the door. And then before you know it, you've got a walla, and you're like, and you were great 20 seconds ago. Can anyone relate to that? Your partner, your boss, coworker? Thank you. That was for all of you guys because I just literally saw that picture, okay? Yep, great, Emily. So there's lots of reasons to set your vibration, but so you're here, and then all that happened is your partner walked in, and all of a sudden you don't know what happened, but you can feel it. Now your momentum is here. Now what's happening, and we're going to talk a lot about this in 3-month course. What happened from here to here is an unconscious thing came in, and for some of you, it's like, this isn't safe, even though it is, you know it's safe, but in the back of your brain, it's like, there's a boy, there's the boss, there's that coworker. Can any of you relate to this? That coworker is going to bully me. That person looks like my brother. And then before you know it, your momentum's in the pits. Got it? Now, this is where, and we'll talk, like I said, a lot about the 3-month course because that's a super deep topic. I didn't know I was going to go here, just so you guys know. But that's the key to this work. It's not about being happy, 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 happy. Let's manifest a new home and waterfalls. Yeah, okay, it's about that. But it's about what were you taught? What were you fed? So for example, for me, you know, if I had a boss, I'd be in constant fear. So I work for myself. If for men, I mean, I'm Indian. And so there's a conversation for some East Indian women around being afraid of men. Is anyone else afraid of men? Like even a little bit? Like, please, I'm not the only one. You know, there's this, thank you, Teresa. It's like this wall goes up, right? Because thank you, Christy. Not the only one. It's like this wall goes up. And if you don't know what your vibration is, you don't know you're doing it. And then you can dissect those unconscious thoughts. And that's some of the work I'll be doing in 3 months. Well, what is that? Why do I do that? Because that you were here before, and now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're here. And then by 10 o'clock at night, you're down here. And this is where the work is. What happened? And this is why we get sick. And this is why we, you know, end up with addictions. Because this is where the work is. Is this making sense to you guys? It's not about being fluffy, but it's like, what happened? Why do I have that thought? What am I really afraid of? How can I heal that unconscious patterning? Does that resonate to any of you guys? Is it making sense? Any comments or questions before I keep going? I want to check in. Oh yeah, baby. Thanks, Christy. Any comments, questions? Where are we at? I can feel them. That's why I'm checking. They're saying stop because there are some questions and comments coming in. Anyone want to talk to us? How are you guys? Oh, I see something. I don't know what does that say? Does anyone read it? You said that we need to set vibration to know the unconscious. Yes, Jen, I'll explain that in a second. Yes, but not sure how to articulate it. So what's being, I can't read what that says. She's putting up a sign, but I can't read it. Okay. I've been calling every day. Okay, perfect, Christy. So, okay. So the reason we need to set the vibration to know the unconscious is because the unconscious isn't going to say to me, you're afraid of your boss. My unconscious isn't going to be saying, you're afraid of men. Your unconscious isn't going to say, men aren't safe. And I'm using men, but I could use women. Or I could use, does this make sense? But you have to, when your vibration drops, you have to go, what do I think? And the way our brain is set up is to protect us. It's like, you don't want to remember those. That's why a lot of my clients say, I don't remember my childhood. That's fine. But in the childhood, stuff got packed away. Does that make sense to you guys? And those packed away things, we briefly talked about it last class, are the shadow stuff that we want to start to uncover and come to peace with. So that our vibration can stay here. Not that we have to stay up here all the time, but it's like, what happened? Because it's this, when Sharon was talking about the 2%, this is what she's talking about. Does that resonate to you guys? Does that make sense? Okay, let me just see. Okay, comments, questions coming in. And then we're going to go into meditation before we wrap. What are you saying is giving me a pain in my pelvis? So it's hit, but don't know exactly what. Okay. Your name is typed in as iPhone, so I want to check in. Do you want to play iPhone? So the person typed in, what I'm saying is giving them a pain in their pelvis. So what I'm saying is hitting them. I don't know exactly what it is. I just want to check if she or he wants to play, but I can't tell the name because it just says iPhone. So if you want to play, let me know. Oh, Barbara. Thank you. Sharon or Christine, do either of you guys want to play with her, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Me? Okay. Okay. Recognize the feeling and know what it is. That enough to get through it? Yeah. 1 second. I'll grab that second, Bridget. Yeah. I mean, Barbara, there's something that's coming in your pelvis that it doesn't feel safe to just be. Okay. So pelvis is the first and second chakra. So it doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It can be just feeling not safe. And a lot of our deep DNA, especially around partnerships, is actually not ours. It's our moms, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers. So Barbara, what I'm seeing is that something that's sitting in your pelvis isn't even yours, but it's a thought that I can't just be in ease, and it's stuck there. And so when people develop, in my world, in my intuitive coaching world, when people develop a health issue, it's not because they ate too much fried rice. It's not because they had too much gluten. This is my world, okay? And I don't expect you to believe me. But in my world, it's because there's a deep emotion that they've got in their body that might not even been theirs, but they got learned passively. And that's what I'm picking up, Barbara. This isn't yours. Okay, so the next comment came in from Bridget. If we recognize the feeling and know what it is that enough to get through it? Sharon, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. Yes. So that's a great question. Is that enough to get through it? Sometimes. It depends where you're at, right? Like it depends where you're at on a given day. So for me, sometimes I can recognize that there's something going on, but sometimes I can't name the feeling. So then I have to stop and I have to do the deeper work. So it really depends, A, what the feeling is, B, where you're at the moment that you're feeling it, and C, how willing you are to go deep into it. So yes, sometimes it is enough. Sometimes I know when I'm getting irritated because I get itchy. Like if you see me scratching, you know that I'm irritated, usually at myself. And so now I know that, but I didn't always know that that's what it meant, right? I didn't always know that irritation was something I was feeling and how it was manifesting, but now I do. So just knowing that, I can deal with it. There are other things going on in my body and other feelings that are coming up that I'm not so aware of. So again, it's not just a yes or no answer, it's a more complex. And again, we get into that more in depth in our program, and probably in the next few weeks, you'll learn more about that too.
And I'll answer your question in a second. Christine, do you want to answer this one? Once you do this work on yourself, do you stop dropping momentum less? I thought that would be a great question for you. Do you stop dropping momentum if you keep doing this work? I love you.
So yeah, I've been doing this work for a really long time, and I definitely went through a lot more drops initially. So I would get into it and I would have these, and I see it a lot with the clients I work with. That's why when I say like, it's not a one-stop shop. You can't come in for, you'll feel amazing after one session, but then patterns, it all kind of can drop. So yes, for sure, doing the work helps massively. Like the biggest thing that I've noticed is my ability, my like baseline, I guess you could say, it is not as low. It doesn't drop as low. Like, so if I'm hitting, like, for example, this afternoon, I'll give you an example. This afternoon, I noticed I went out for a beautiful walk. I was so just like enamored with the beauty. It was sunshine. It was just like my vibration was just like off, like through the roof. I was just so excited for tonight. I came back home. I started feeling a bit of nausea. I started feeling like, and I was like, okay, is this mine? And I heard no. I started watching, I started reading 2 articles about the news. I started, like, it was sort of, and I noticed, I'm like, okay, I feel like shit after doing that. Okay, And with that, I just said, what do I need? What do I need to shift this? I can feel I can feel other people's stuff. I can feel that reading the news, I was starting to get into patterns. I was able to just cut it. I went on Insight Timer and I just searched like clearing, like how to, a little 5 to 10 minute meditation on clearing. I cleared it. I had a quick shower. I knew that would cut momentum. I came on the call. I feel totally grounded. So it's just, that's a really long answer. But yes, I think that doing this work massively has helped. It's not that I don't dip. It's just that when I dip, I feel it and I'm able to shift it. So I don't go down the big, Divya example I used to use is like, imagine a big boulder at the top of a hill, and one thought starts to go into the next thought, and then the more thoughts, the faster it goes, the faster that boulder, imagine like the momentum of a boulder going down a huge hill, like it like speeds up and then it becomes out of control. So I'd say that, yeah, doing this work, it definitely helps cut the momentum, and I'm able to pull myself out of it a lot faster. So short answer, long answer, yes.
And I'm going to add to that. So it does stop, and the biggest thing, and this will lead into Alyssa's question in a sec. The biggest thing that I would say to you, Natasha, is that it does, first off, it takes consciousness. And it's it's not why you need, because you don't actually need anything, but why it helps to work as a collective. Wouldn't you guys say, Sharon, Christine, that working as a collective really helps to pay attention to your vibration, right? Big time, right? And so working as a collective, because then you're always, it's not that someone's testing you, but you're always aware. Got it? Because you're going to return to it. Because I've known this work for a long time. When I actually started working with a coach and started studying and teaching, that's when the application went right through the roof. And the other thing that's happened to me, Natasha, is that, yeah, when I drop my momentum, the difference now though is I don't beat myself up as much at all. I'm like, I'm pissed. I'm anxious. Do you get it? Like, I'm less like attached to beating myself up versus I spent the majority of my life beating myself up. So there's 2 more questions coming in. From Alicia, this is a great question. What are some techniques to go deeper into an emotion or shadow? I am familiar with meditations, etc., but sometimes it feels like I need something more to get into these layers. Fantastic question. My short and long answer is, in my experience, Alicia, is that, and I think Sharon and Christine can help me out on this one, that type of deep work is best done with somebody else. Sharon, would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this is how it works, Felicia. So here's me and my junk, and I got my junk. And here's somebody else witnessing and loving me through my junk. That is the biggest, by far, the biggest energy that helps, okay? The second thing is, it's not just one meditation, one technique, and we're going to dive into it in 3 months, in this 3-month course. One of the reasons we're not doing it in this webinar series is because if we touch this, Alicia, it's a great question. And this is not to offend you guys, so don't take this as like I'm in a being mean way. Is the whole idea of this webinar is to like give you guys pieces and keep you up here. But if I start to go into shadow work, I'll go deep, and then I don't want to leave you down here. That's not what I'm a stand for. I'm a stand for taking you. But in order for me to take you down here and then pull you back up, I need more than just 6 hours straight up. Wouldn't you say, Sharon? Christine?
Oh, yeah.
I need that time, and I need that commitment, and I need that space, which I don't have in just 1 hour with a lot of people. That's so sorry, Lisa, I can't go deeper than that. But the biggest with a capital B thing that helped me by far is somebody else willing to witness me and love me through it. Because I've never been able to love myself through my stuff, ever. So I hope that helps. Okay, the next question that came in. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So Amy writes in this. If this helps, once I recognize that sometimes it might even take more than one day to get past the masking emotion, anger, numbness, etc., to the vulnerable feelings of sadness and insecurity, and gave myself permission to let it be a process, I also don't go anywhere near as far as I used to. Less pressure to fix. It immediately helps. Yes. Thanks, Amy. That's awesome. I think it's more of a comment. Thank you. That's awesome. So I want to end the meditation before we end here. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's all close our eyes. Any other comments or questions before we do a final meditation? Sharon, Christine, do you want to add anything?
No, I'm good.
All right, so close your eyes. And take a few deep belly breaths. Go back into that belly breathing that we did last time, that we did earlier today. And I want you to start to notice, like an observer would, what's going on for you. Just step outside and observe. And breathe. Deep belly breathing. That belly breathing will waken up your spirit voice like we did last time. There you go. Good. Now on your next breath, invite in your divine support team. Whatever that means to you. Your guides, your angels, your ancestors. If that word means nothing to you, just imagine everything and everyone in the universe that loves you surrounding you right now. Just breathe, just all love. Just feel your love loved and supported. Standing in the center of the circle with consciousness. On your next breath, remember that exercise we did where we wrote down thought and emotion. Remember that feeling. Take that feeling into your body right now. And notice your vibration. What am I vibrating right now? Am I vibrating hope, love, ease, joy, connection, promise? What am I vibrating? And breathe. Deep belly breath. Notice as your heart opens, your solar plexus relaxes, and your shoulders soften. Breathe. Now I invite you to say to yourself, I have permission to feel good. I have permission to feel this love, this joy, this feeling of awe that I have set for myself. I can feel my divine support team all around me. I can feel the love of every person and energy that cares about me, supporting me and holding me as I hold this vibration. Now telling yourself, it's not my job to fix anything or do anything, but I welcome in the new thoughts that match the joy. I welcome in the new thoughts that match the love. I welcome in the new thoughts that match this peace. And breathe. And on your next breath, telling yourself, I'm not going to forcefully expect myself to stay here. I'm just going to allow myself to feel good. Today's class has been about momentum and vibration. So my promise to myself is I am going to observe myself more from the outside. I'm going to be mindful and aware of what I am. I'm going to observe my vibration. I'm going to love myself regardless of what my vibration is. And breathe. If my vibration is going downhill, I've learned some techniques to shift it today. I'm open to applying them with gratitude and love for this work. Take about 5 or 10 more deep breaths. And then when you're ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes. Feel your body in your chair. And very, 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 very slowly, keeping this vibration you're in right now, noticing it, gently open your eyes. Maybe typing in the vibration you're in right now. What are you feeling right now? What are you vibrating right now? Light. Beautiful. Light. Just feel that light in. Peace. Playful. We're going to talk about that secondly. So beautiful. Love. Expansiveness. Peace and love. I came in fear and now I'm in peace and love. Beautiful. Giggling. Peace. So Alicia, what I'm getting for you, she wrote in, I'm in a high vibration, but I'm crying and feeling emotional. I think it was for you that I said, you have permission to be in this high vibration. And sometimes giving yourself permission and you're releasing something too, they're telling me. Just allow yourself, don't worry, but it's all good. Really beautiful. Slow down, presence. I want to check in with my co-host, Christine, Sharon. Do you guys want to add anything? I'm going to check in with you guys if you have any questions before we wrap. I know some of you just want to stay here in this place. Feel free to take off. But before we wrap, Christine, Sharon, do you want to add anything? Guys, do you have any questions? Warm, beautiful.
There's just so much shifting. I could feel that. There's a lot of, and I think the biggest, I keep sensing, is it Alicia or Elisa? Was there was a release on like this, like a surrender of like, oh, I'm allowed to, it was like the permission piece. Like I'm allowed to feel good, even though there's so much happening and there's people, of course there's so much happening in the world, but there's this permission to also, like I just keep hearing, by allowing yourself to feel that joy and love and peace, you're also rippling that out and you're bringing so much calm to the people around you, where we have enough people in the world who are vibrating fear and anxiety, all the things. We've got a myriad, we've got millions of people who are in that. So if we can continue to shine, which is what I tell myself as well, if I continue to shine my light and bring hope and that sense that I'm actually genuinely feeling, like only do it if you're feeling it, but if I'm able to do that, then I'm like, there's no harm. It's I don't have to feel guilty for that. It's, yeah. So I keep hearing, like, just allow yourself to feel that and just like let it move through your body.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and it was, for me, when I was tuning in, it was like, that pressure cooker, and it was like somebody let the steam off and everybody just kind of took this sort of sigh together and released. And so that was really beautiful. And again, it's just that gentleness, right? Again, we talked about that last week, is bringing in that gentleness and constantly and continually being gentle with yourself and with others. So that was beautiful. Thanks, Divi.
Thank you, guys. And somebody wrote in, Barbara wrote in, I love this. Thank you, Rob, just in perfect timing. Thank you, COVID, or else I wouldn't have made time for this. Awesome, guys. So go enjoy basking in this. Break your momentum. Observe yourself. Don't beat yourself up. We'll be back on Friday at noon with our happy, smiley faces. I can't wait to see you guys then. Big love, guys. Thanks, guys.
Bye.